Broadcasting from Manhattan Beach and the World Wide Web, you're listening to CHSR, HealthyLife.net.
As a service to our listeners, this program is for general information and entertainment purposes only. CHSR HealthyLife.net does not recommend, endorse, or object to the views, products, or topics expressed or discussed by show hosts or their guests. We suggest you always consult with your own personal, medical, financial, or legal advisor.
You're listening to the Perk Up with Kim show. I am your host, Kim O'Neill, and I'm so happy that you're here with me today. On this show, I invite you to embrace all of who you are. Know that anything is possible for you as I talk with really awesome, inspiring guests about topics that allow you to step into a place of ease and flow, positively expanding your energy and tapping into your power. Grab your coffee or tea and come percolate with me. Welcome back. You are listening to the Perk Up with Kim show on HealthyLife.net, and I am your host, Kim O'Neill, and as always, thank you for being here. I know you can't see me. I know you can only hear me, and I can't see you or hear you, but I feel you, and I always love that we get to spend this time together. And before we get into today's show, I just, want to put out there, if you'd like to connect with me in any way, you can always visit my website at KimO'NeillCoaching.com, and O'Neill is spelled Oneill. So that's KimO'NeillCoaching.com. And I'm also on Facebook with the name Kim O'Neill Coaching and Perk Up with Kim Show, and on Twitter at Kim's on a Mission. And as a reminder, we do have some really cool opportunities for people with businesses who would love to advertise on this show. So if you are looking to have a radio commercial and have some help with putting that together, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I would love to talk to you about that. And you can reach me by going to, of course, any one of the social media or my website, or better yet, you can email me, KimO'Neill@Outlook.com, or 562-273-2546. And so here we are. I usually do a little bit of a longer intro, but today I want to allow for as much time for us to speak with today's guest. So I'm going to move right into that. I'm so excited to share with you today's guest because she's going to be able to share with us a lot of valuable insight, and we're going to engage in a discussion that I think will have a lot of meaning for a lot of people. So today's guest is Brenda Michaels, and I'm going to share with you a little bit about her. Brenda Michaels is a successful broadcast and media host. She's the co-producer and co-host of Conscious Talk Radio, as well as The Women's Hour, both which are broadcast on KKNW 1150 AM, Seattle's alternative talk station. She has been awarded the Global Women's Summit Leadership Award. And drum roll, please, she is the author of the amazing book, The Gift of Cancer, A Miraculous Journey to Healing. And it was her experience with cancer and the death sentence that she received nearly 26 years ago that led her to not perceive cancer as an enemy to be destroyed, but rather to perceive it as a teacher. And so for that reason, I'm so excited to have Brenda on the show today. So welcome, Brenda.
Thank you so much, Kim. It's an honor to be with you and your listening audience.
Oh, I know this is a topic that hits home for a lot of people, whether they've experienced it directly, cancer in their bodies, or with someone that they love, someone that they know. And so I think this is a really, a very timely topic for a lot of people. And as we're experiencing all sorts of shifts in the world, I love that you have, a different take on this subject. So, and we are continuing with the theme of what I've been doing this year, Where Are They Now? And so I am going to ask you questions that will allow us to explore where you've been in your life and where you are today. And whatever comes up for you in that. So I know cancer is definitely, and healing. Let me emphasize that. It's not all about the cancer, it's about the healing and the shift in that perception. But although that, can definitely be one of the main topics we may be discussing today, please feel free to share with us, other experiences that you've had too, and how you overcame them and how you got to where you are today, because we are not these one-dimensional people. There's all sorts of things happening, and I know it's always helped me to be able to hear other people's stories of how they overcame things, and, and so I love doing that on this show. So before I ask you any questions, is there anything that comes to mind first in terms of, when you talk about your book and your experience of healing through cancer?
Well, what really, first of all, that comes to mind is it is a very difficult subject to approach. We all know that.
Yeah.
It's a very scary subject for people, and I completely know that one really well. It's challenging for people, and I think for me, because I was able to perceive it differently than probably most people would, and where that came from was, for the first time in my life, really spiritually tuning in, and that's where that strength came from. That it's a little, more challenging for people that perhaps don't hold that perspective of seeing the disease that they're in or the dis-ease that they're in, whether it be physical or emotional or whether it be financial or relationship-wise, whatever it is, when we can perceive it from a place of asking that question, why, not why is this happening to me, but what is this here to teach me about myself, then we can start a process of, and coming from more of a curious place, we can start a process of our learning. And from my perspective and what I was taught through all of that is that everything here is teaching us something much deeper about ourselves. And if it comes forward, whether it's disease or, financial loss or the loss of a loved one, however it comes forward, from my perspective, means that it's up for a reason. And it's showing itself because it is time for you to look at that deeply and to heal whatever is beneath the expression, what is beneath the cancer, what is beneath the loss of the money, or what is beneath the loss of a loved one, even if it's a death, an unexpected death. What is it that you need to know about yourself and you need to learn and spiritually fortify so that you can move forward in your life?
Oh, I love that. Thank you for sharing all that. So many thoughts as you were talking. I have to admit that it was even scary for me to say, do I want to do a show on this subject? Because, everyone's coming from their own perspective and their own experiences, and it is a challenging time, but I think these types of conversations, it's time to have them, and it's time to have them publicly. And so with that said, I know one of the things you've just mentioned is you were able to tune in spiritually.
Yes.
And I'm wondering, how did you, were you connected? I'm sorry, what was that?
Basically, what did it take to do that is maybe what usually I'm asked is, how did you get there? What did it take for you to get to that place?
Well, definitely that, but I'm also wondering, to what degree did you feel you were a spiritual person before being diagnosed?
Oh, great question. And the honest truth is, I wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
The honest truth is, I was so disconnected from any spiritual roots in my life. And I was brought up a Christian. I was brought up in a Christian church. I was baptized. I even taught Sunday school and sang in the choir when I was in school, grade school and high school. So I came from that background. And my journey was a spiritual one, not a religious one per se. And that is not saying that religion isn't good, because it is, but it was more of a broader spiritual perspective, and I was not living that life at all. I was very disconnected. I was in a lot of pain in my life, And even though good things were happening, I was newly married, I had moved from a brief stay in Seattle, Washington to L.A. to pursue an acting career. On the surface, things looked like they were going really well for me. I had a very supportive, loving husband at the time. He got into the movie industry. He was able to move into it very quickly because he was on, the out-of-the-scene side of it, and I was pursuing the acting side of it. But on the surface, things looked really good. But on the inside, I was suffering. That quiet desperation that people talk about.
Yeah.
A lot of wounding from childhood forward, a lot of beliefs that I carried that were not loving beliefs, they were not supportive beliefs, they were not life-affirming beliefs, many of which I discovered going through this process, and I didn't even know about some of the beliefs because they sat in my unconscious. And that was part of what was driving all the pain and the disconnect and the dis-ease, if you will.
Ooh, I'm so glad we're having this conversation. So, thank you for pointing out that distinction, that there is a distinction between religion and spirituality. And it's not necessarily saying one or the other is better, but what was, coming from that place where you didn't really feel you were as tuned in spiritually, I guess what really happened to create that breakthrough for you, or what was like the pivotal moment?
Well, when I was diagnosed the third time, and I was in my doctor's office, and I had this lump in my breast for over 2 years, had it misdiagnosed several times, and I knew the moment he started pressing on my breast, and this is before he even took the needle biopsy, I could see this deep concern come over him, and it scared me. It was so frightening, and I knew he knew. And he took my hand. He was so lovely, and he said to me, "Brenda, why haven't you done something about this?"
Wow.
And I just burst into tears. I said, "I've tried. I've had it checked. I've had mammograms. I've had it looked at. I've been to 3 other doctors, and I've been told that it's just an inflammation in my mammary glands there, and it was actually a lump that I could feel it just burning inside, and I would be given antibiotics, and those antibiotics helped with that. So I was inclined to believe what I was being told. But I knew that he knew it was much more serious, and that's when he said, "Was a needle biopsy ever done?" And I said, "No, what is that?" I was completely naive.
Wow.
And unaware of what that was. And he explained, and he said, "We're going to do that, and then I'm going to put you in my private office where I want you to wait, and I'm going to send a runner to the lab, and I'm going to request that this be done immediately and that you stay here until I receive the results." And so I was put in his office. I sat alone for probably almost 3 hours. And in that time I was sitting there, something shifted in me. And I remember there was a ray of sunlight coming through this window. It looked like a slat. It was only like 6 inches wide, and it was very, very high from almost the floor to the ceiling. And there was this beam of sunlight coming through there. And I went over there because, when you get really upset and you're really afraid, you get cold.
Mm-hmm.
And I was really cold. So I went over and I kneeled down in front of that beam of sunlight, and I felt this presence come over me. Something I might have felt that when I was a little girl, really a small girl, because I was fairly tuned in until it sort of got, taken out of me, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
But I could feel it, and I just started crying, and I gave it to God, basically. I just surrendered to the best of my ability. I said, "This is way too big for me. This is not I can't handle this. I'm terrified." I was just talking to God like I would tell you about it if you were my dearest friend. And I think in that surrender is when a space was created for me to start receiving information that came to me, receiving help that came from unbelievable places. Like, for instance, the apartment I lived in it was 2 blocks from where Marianne Williamson every Tuesday night was teaching A Course in Miracles.
Oh, wow.
And I heard about this, and I was drawn to it. And I was sitting in the front row every Tuesday night taking copious notes and buying her book, Return to Love. And this is what started me down that path. And I bought The Course in Miracles, and I began to read that. And, you know, people and books and information, it all started coming to me. I wasn't having to go outside to get it because I believe I had opened up to receive it. And that's a huge key. It takes that kind of opening the heart and surrendering over whatever it is, the state that we're in, and giving it to God or a higher power and asking for guidance and then waiting for that guidance to come.
Yeah, I think definitely when we are going through troubling times, we finally reach that place where we realize this is beyond my control. Right? You know, I know so much, and yet I don't seem to know enough to be able to know how to fix this situation.
Yeah.
And so it sounds like for you it was at that stage of diagnosis.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It was, for me, it was this period of time where I began to understand, deeply understand, that this is not going to be solved by my mind, my small mind, the ego mind, the mind that is really separated. Our minds are really, truly split. And if we look out at the planet today and we see all the destruction and chaos going on, the hatred, the separation, that is due to a closed heart and a separated mind. And that surrender that I was talking about, I have to do that every day, Kim. Every day I have to re-surrender because the ego is relentless. And if I'm going to believe everything I hear and see out there, I'm going to go into that fearful place, that separated place from who I am and my connection to God, my higher power, and I'm going to feel powerless and fearful, and then I'm going to, in that fear, see in the world nothing but enemies that need to be attacked, that need to be destroyed, that need to be put in their place, whatever it is that the mind conjures up. So every day for me and my husband is a deep surrender. And I'm not saying that is easy. This is probably one of the most challenging things that we will ever do, and I'm still challenged by it. Because there's days when I just want to scream and say, nothing's working. You know, why am I doing the work I'm doing? Why am I praying to a God that doesn't seem to be giving me the answers that I'm looking for? That frustration can set in there. But I know that that is a lie. I know that that's a falsehood. I know that if I stay balanced and on track, my life works. It works beautifully. And I can share that love and peace with others. And when I don't, I get pretty screwed up, and then I start to suffer.
Oh. Yes, that's something I've learned too, and seen with the clients that I coach too, is that when we're disconnected from our inner guidance or disconnected from our heart, it's so easy to really get caught up in our heads, really get caught up in the chaos and just this confusion and just really feel lost and like we're not sure what to do. And when we take that moment to pause and, like you said, surrender and really connect.
Yeah. I do a lot of breathing into my heart, probably 10, 15, 20 minutes of it to expand and open and deepen in my heart before I even do the surrendering. Because I'll find some days, Kim, like when these shootings happen or, something tragic happens, and, most of us are very sensitive and some of us are even empathic.
Yeah.
We are connected. We are one in spirit. We cannot help but feel what's going on unless we've numbing through lots of different ways. Whether it's antidepressants, and look at the amount of antidepressants on the planet today, whether it's alcohol or sugar or, whatever it is that we use to numb out. I have some numbing that goes on too. I'm human. We all do.
Right.
but I'm aware of it now, and that's why I do the deep breathing, so that I can get as deep as possible in my heart, so that I can actually invite God in and actually turn it over. Because when I'm not able to get there, and there's days I don't, but I don't beat myself up for it. I don't go into that punishing place that I used to.
That's so important.
I just accept it, and then I go on with my day, and then I'll stop during the day, and I'll do the breathing and go back in again until I've really reached that place. Because when I don't, I'm really suffering, and it's not a good feeling, and we all know what that feels like.
Absolutely. Well, and I love that you mentioned, we're all sensitive. I think even the people who are considered maybe type A, or the people who are maybe they don't consider themselves to be spiritual at all,
Right.
All this stuff still affects every single one of us.
Yes, and I have a brother who's bipolar and has been on many different antidepressants all of his life, and part of it isn't that, and he can get really mean and nasty when he's in that, that place, but it's not because he's not sensitive. It's because he's ultra-sensitive, and he does not know how to handle it.
Oh, you know what? We're getting ready to actually take our first break, but that is a really good point that you just opened up. So when we come back, I would love to explore that a little further.
Okay.
And so, again, we are talking with Brenda Michaels on the Perk Up with Kim show. And if you'd like to know more about Brenda, you can go to her website at intentionalshift.com and stay right there. We're going to come back and really just continue to dive deep into this topic of healing. No matter how your life looks today, your possibilities are endless. You deserve all the joy, peace, and excitement in life that you desire. Life doesn't come with a manual, and that's why personal coaching is so awesome. Moving forward is easier. Creating a new reality for yourself, healing your mind and body, it's all possible. Visit KimO'NeillCoaching.com today to learn more and schedule your free consultation.
For all your live or pre-recorded webcasting needs, come to earthchannel.com. Get your web-based message out to a select group or the whole world. It's easy. A pioneer in webcasting, earthchannel.com provides the best products and services to big corporations and government users. And now, this same technology is available to you. They have the best earthcasting coders, servers, and products to meet your technical needs. But wait, don't want to mess with technical stress? No problem. They'll do it for you. earthchannel.com is your answer. You can use webcasting for lots of things, like advertising, marketing, customer support, training, and don't forget, web radio and TV. In fact, you're listening to a live Earthcast right now, so come to earthchannel.com. Actualize your audio or video webcasting needs today. You can't beat the friendly service or the price. Call earthchannel.com at 800-849-8978. That's 800-849-8978.
Right now, I know you're in the middle of a break during my show, the Perk Up with Kim show, and I'm so glad you could join us today. Are you having fun, maybe feeling inspired, a little rejuvenated? Reassured that it's all going to be okay, because you are super strong and can get through and accomplish anything. I know this. Sign up at KimO'NeillCoaching.com/contact to make sure you always know when the next show is going to air. And hey, if no one's told you yet today, you're doing a great job. Okay, I gotta go. Show's about to start back up.
Attention Kmart shoppers. Now you get Kmart on HealthyLife.net. Kmart carries over 70,000 items like Martha Stewart's Everyday Products, apparel by Jacqueline Smith, Joe Boxer, Route 66, appliances, jewelry, and more. Everything you need. Plus, you'll get exciting weekly promotions. Go to HealthyLife.net's homepage and click on Kmart, and then you're there. And you even avoided the crowds.
HealthyLife.net, the positive radio network.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Perk Up with Kim show, and today I have with me guest Brenda Michaels, and we're talking about the gift of cancer and healing from that. And in the first segment, we ended with talking about Brenda, you mentioned that you have, I think it was your brother, correct? Your brother who...
He has bipolar disorder. And so he's been on antidepressants off and on for, since he was young. And, what I've discovered about it, because I used to condemn him and judge him because he could have these mean streaks, and he was always very closed down, and his heart very closed down. And what I came to understand and realize is it isn't because he's hard-hearted or, doesn't believe in God or any of those things. It's because he's so ultra-sensitive, he doesn't know how to deal with it. He's incredibly sensitive, empathic, and, all of that, we're bombarded with it, and unless you really are rooted spiritually and know how to deal with that kind of energy, you think it's you.
Right. Have you and he ever had any conversations about spirituality, or have you seen any shifts in him as you went through your experience?
Little shifts, but because he's been doing antidepressants so long and because he's numbed to a large degree, it's very, very challenging and difficult for him to get there because he can't feel the depth of what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And when we turn ourselves off, when we shut our hearts down, when we numb, however it is that we do, or we live in that deep state of denial, it's very difficult to get there. It's not impossible, but it's very difficult. And so you have to be really willing and truly committed to that walk to get there. And that's what I found out for myself through this walk with cancer, was how willing was I and how committed was I truly, not only to healing the cancer physically, but to healing myself emotionally and spiritually and mentally, because that's all part of it. It isn't separate from it, even though in modern medicine, that's not what we're taught. We're taught that it's a physical problem, and what is treated is the symptom.
Right.
But I know from my heart of hearts that the problem is way deeper than that. It usually starts as a spiritual issue and then becomes an emotional issue and then a physical problem.
Would you be able to share with us a little bit more about what you feel led to the diagnosis of cancer? Like what emotional experiences had you had prior to then that you think led to that diagnosis?
Well, I was definitely angry, very angry at everybody. But what I came to find out, Kim, is that there was a lot of inner anger and really a lot of inner hatred that I was projecting onto people, relationships, the world. So I was very disconnected there. There was a lot of resentment around a lot of betrayal and physical and emotional abuse as a child. Friends betraying me, lovers betraying me. So there was all of that collective energy sitting there. And because I didn't know enough that I had something to do with all of that, because the ego in that separation believes, that it is flawless in that regard, so it's into the blame game. And so I only knew to blame. I blamed outside circumstances. I blamed people. But I never once was able to sit down and say, what part, really, did I have in this? What in me is so wounded that I want to hurt myself or other people, that I want to lash out, that I'm so angry? Why am I so afraid of everything? I had to begin to ask myself those questions.
And that takes courage to allow oneself to open up and start to consider, wait a second, what's my role in this?
Absolutely. I mean, when my days are off, I have to be honest with myself. What is really going on inside of me that I haven't allowed to come to my full awareness yet? because I busied myself all day.
Oh, that's a good one.
I had too many things on my to-do list, so I couldn't be bothered. You know, we're so willing to take care of everything outside of us.
Yes.
And so unaware and unwilling at times to really nurture and give love to ourselves. And really looking at all that and asking those questions and, you know, really asking God for the courage to be present to it is the most loving thing that we can do for ourselves and everyone else we come in contact with.
Absolutely. I love that you mentioned earlier about how you mentioned basically self-forgiveness.
Yeah.
You know, through your daily practices of surrendering and really being in that space. And if things don't go quite how you had intended, you allow yourself to say, okay, you know what, I'm not going to beat myself up over this.
Yes, and I've had to forgive myself many times when something didn't pan out the way I expected and I was very disappointed. Something didn't come to me that I thought was coming to me, and that at the last minute it didn't. And I wanted to lash out and go, why? You know, why me? Why didn't this work? I did everything I possibly could. But what I found out, Kim, was that I really wasn't completely prepared to receive what I was asking for.
Oh, that's so key. That's so key.
Yes.
Yeah, we can ask and ask and ask, but if we actually don't allow... And it takes practice, I think, even figuring out, well, what does allowing mean? Isn't it enough if I just ask for it? Right. But it's not. We can actually be working against ourselves.
Oh, definitely. And this is what we do.
Mm-hmm.
But we project that energy onto circumstances, people in the world, and therefore we think we have no power in it at all. And that powerlessness leads to fear, and fear leads to hatred. Yes.
Oh, so, okay, I know we're probably going to be coming up upon a break soon, but I want to ask you, okay, and we're down to a minute. I'm going to throw a question out there, and if something comes to mind, feel to throw it out, and then we'll go to the break. How did people in your life respond to you as you started to take on this other perception?
Great question, and probably would like to answer that after the break.
Okay.
Because there's quite a bit to it, but that's a really good question.
Okay.
How they responded, yes.
Wonderful. Yeah, I just want to get as much as we can out of this show. So that's a great answer. So stay right there. We're going to continue this wonderful conversation and just take a deep breath. However this information is, impacting you, just take a deep breath and just... We are here together, and we're all here to support and heal. And we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back. Sometimes we wish we could practically do nothing and still feel better. Guess what? You kinda can. When you schedule a Reiki or guided meditation session, you can just be and receive and allow the energy to shift. There's relief. These energy sessions can be done alone or combined with a coaching session. Find out more at KimO'NeillCoaching.com and click on the Energy Work tab.
Get your moto going at the Motorola store online. Visit the HealthyLife.net advertiser page, click on Motorola, and you'll discover a whole new world of phones. Plus, you can get great deals on phones, with or without contract. That's great, Moto. And don't forget, they even have Bluetooth and other phone accessories. But that's not all. Want more Moto? Motorola has home and office phones and two-way radios. And for the best Moto ever, Motorola has great specials right online. Go to the HealthyLife.net advertiser page and click on the Motorola banner now and get your moto going.
Yes! You did it! You got the job interview! Now all you need to do is prepare. You aren't sure how or what to say? Guess what? We can do this together then. One of my specialties is helping you to know how to present your best self for an employment interview. We'll practice, you'll feel confident. You got this. Visit KimO'NeillCoaching.com or call 562-273-2546.
Radio your way. HealthyLife.net.
Welcome back. You're listening to Perk Up with Kim, and I've got guest Brenda Michaels. And Brenda, so let me ask you that question again. In the last segment, I asked you, as you were experiencing this shift in perception within yourself about how you were experiencing cancer, what were, the people in your life, how were they responding to you as you went through that?
Well, I think they responded quite normally, and that was they thought I was crazy. And it got, with my family in particular, it got to the point where I actually had to cut off any kind of, relationship with them, whether it was telephone or whatever. I actually had to cut that off for nearly 2 years because they were so frightened for me, and that's why I say it's a normal response, because how I began to view it and the work I began to do around it was completely foreign to them. And so they were afraid for my life. And rightly so. And so, but it got to be very negative because my dad in particular, got very insistent about coming down there and bringing me home taking me to a real doctor and oncologist in Spokane and pulling me out of what he thought was my delusion.
Wow. Had you known, as you were going through that experience, had you met other people that were choosing an alternative perception as well?
I was meeting people that were choosing an alternative therapy for their physical body.
Okay.
I hadn't met anyone that was perceiving it quite like I was, which, by the way, made me start to question it, of course. And had I not stayed with my prayers and my opening my heart and turning it over and staying with my faith around it and the messages I was receiving, I would have at some point probably caved and thought, this is really, really ridiculous. And I have gone off the deep end. Because even my friends who were spiritually involved, they were still fearful for me.
Wow. And okay, so you mentioned receiving those messages. How in tune with your intuition would you say you were prior to this whole experience?
I've always had a really, really good intuition.
Okay.
But I had never really deeply tuned into it as I did during that time, which really built that muscle really stronger and stronger and stronger. I had it before and it came and went, but I never paid it any honoring, any respect, any real awareness or notice. And I started doing that during this healing. I hope this isn't too sensitive a question, but I'm curious, how was your husband responding to you? At that time, and it's not my husband I'm with today.
Okay.
But my ex-husband, he was there for me. He was absolutely 100% there for me. And I couldn't have gone through it without him.
Support is so important.
Totally important.
Yeah.
And I only surrounded myself with people that could support what I was doing to the best of their ability, and they were willing to keep their fear and their thoughts about it to themselves instead of trying to convince me to do something different.
And even that takes such courage to be able to say, you know what, right now I need to make myself a priority. And so if that means I need to sort of, shut the door on some people or experiences that I do care about, my health is important.
Yeah, well, my life was important. I came to finally believe that. It never was before. I'm like most people or some people, we abuse our bodies. We just get on with life. If things seem to be going pretty well, we don't give it any consideration, and neither did I. But it was really even more about saving my physical life. It was about saving my soul. And I really realized that. I really got that.
Wow.
And that was so important to me to save my soul because, quite honestly, Kim, I didn't know if I was going to survive it or not. I mean, I just knew that I was moving in that direction. I held that vision with as much faith as I could. But the truth is, I didn't know for sure. But I knew if I died, and I believe that we go on, the soul goes on, I wanted my soul healed. Would you share with us some of the specific things that you did to
to maintain that perception and the faith and surrender and all of that?
A terrific amount of prayer every day, meditation, journaling. I wrote a vision statement for myself, and I would revisit it every day, and I would take time to see that vision vividly. Those are those tools. I read every spiritual book I could get my hands on. I really, truly started examining my beliefs and what were they, and looking at them honestly as to how life-affirming were these beliefs, how loving were these beliefs to myself and others. And that's where I learned a great deal about myself, because I had a lot of negative beliefs running my life. Because what we believe about a certain situation creates how we will perceive that situation.
Right.
And I could see where my perception on so much was really off kilter.
And I'm curious, to what degree did you make shifts in, so a lot of the stuff that gets talked about in the medical world, to what degree did you maybe make shifts in your diet and things like that?
Well, totally, 100%. I saw a doctor, Dr. Nicholas Gonzalez, who is an MD of immunology. He was in New York. He just died this last year, unfortunately. I loved him dearly, totally respected him. I was on his program for my physical body, and I knew that was going to help me physically. But I also knew that I needed to do something beyond the physical body to heal. As I said, I believe all disease or dis-ease starts at that spiritual level. And then as above, so below, then it comes down, and it moves into the mental and emotional bodies, and then into the physical.
Absolutely. So let's see here. We've got some time still. So how long, some people, and so I know everyone's going to have a different journey, a different time frame, but I'm curious, when did you start to see shifts in your journey as you really had this spiritual approach, and were there certain moments where you started to see, ooh, it's working?
Yeah. Well, I felt it. And I think I felt my first shift, if I remember correctly, like 3 or 4 months into the work I was doing and the program that I was on with Dr. Gonzalez. Because I have to tell you, and it's going to sound really weird, I was really, really happy at that time. Really happy.
Oh, that's important.
Mm-hmm. It was a shift for me because I had been so miserable before. But I was feeding my soul, and that's where that happiness came from.
I don't even know what the next question is, but I would love for you to expand on that.
Well, when you start to nurture and feed yourself the love that you are wanting from the outside world or from people, when you start giving yourself that level of spiritual connection and deep love, you're happy. There is a feeling of well-being, and that's the word I use to describe it, that comes across. You feel it. There's a sense of well-being, and I had never experienced that until that time. And when I began to get that feeling, I felt I was on the right track.
Oh, I love that. We have to take another break now, but I love that. The value of taking time to be happy. That's how powerful it can be.
And to nurture and love yourself.
Right. Oh, my goodness. Okay, so hang in there with us. We're coming to the end of the show. We're going to take one more break, and we're going to wrap it up with Brenda Michaels. No matter how your life looks today, your possibilities are endless. You deserve all the joy, peace, and excitement in life that you desire. Life doesn't come with a manual, and that's why personal coaching is so awesome. Moving forward is easier. Creating a new reality for yourself, healing your mind and body, it's all possible. Visit KimO'NeillCoaching.com today to learn more and schedule your free consultation.
These shoes are made for walking, jumping, running, and just plain style. Over 32,000 styles. Skechers, an award-winning global leader in lifestyle footwear. And now you can get Skechers without walking, jumping, or running. You can get them by clicking. Scroll down HealthyLife.net's homepage and click. You can check out Skechers, high-quality shoes in styles for men, women, and children. So get in style. Get Skechers today and start walking, running, jumping, and strutting in style.
Right now, I know you're in the middle of a break during my show, the Perk Up with Kim show, and I'm so glad you could join us today. Are you having fun, maybe feeling inspired, a little rejuvenated? Reassured that it's all going to be okay, because you are super strong and can get through and accomplish anything. I know this. Sign up at KimO'Neill.coaching.com/contact to make sure you always know when the next show is going to air. And hey, if no one's told you yet today, you're doing a great job. Okay, I gotta go. Show's about to start back up.
If you like to spend your television viewing time learning about some of the things that you may have missed in history class, or if history was your favorite subject, then you should check out the link to the History Channel on the HealthyLife.net advertiser page. Order DVD sets by series or by subject matter right from our homepage while you still enjoy your favorite HealthyLife.net show.
HealthyLife.net, where positive overcomes negative.
All right, welcome back. You're listening to the Perk Up with Kim show on HealthyLife.net. I am Kim, and we have an amazing guest, Brenda Michaels, talking to us about the gift of cancer and her journey through that, shifting her perception about cancer, about dis-ease, and talking about, we were talking about the importance of taking time to get happy and take care of yourself. And I love that. And so, Brenda, share with us. I know you've got your own radio show, and you are an author. You know, what's happening for you these days?
Well, I do a lot of speaking, which I absolutely love, sharing with people my journey and what I've learned. But I really want your audience to know, while this has been a very serious conversation, there's so much hope out there. It doesn't look like it. But there is a reason for hope. And when we move into a more loving place inside of us, then you look out into the world and you're seeing through the eyes of love.
Yes.
You're seeing through the eyes of the God self as opposed to the ego self. And it changes the essence, the flavor, the color, all of it. And so there is a lot of hope out there. The world is shifting, and through my years of shifting, and I'm still growing because you never stop growing, I'm still learning, I still fall down, I skin my knees, sometimes I'm down for a couple of days, sometimes I'm down for a week. You know, I want them to know this is not about being perfect, this is not about, this is not about getting into this competition about how well I can do this.
Right.
It's about loving yourself enough to allow yourself to be the love that you are. And in my journey, because of it, I was able to start my own radio show. I actually did radio in L.A. for about 2.5 years before I moved up here.
Okay.
And I even did a television show down there in the very beginning that was somewhat similar to this on health issues. And then when my husband and I did get divorced, the one I was talking about in this discussion, and I bless him, I love him dearly, but we parted ways. And then when I met Rob, we moved up here. And within 2 years, we had started our radio show, Conscious Talk Radio. And, of course, I wrote my book, and I wrote articles for different magazines. And, I did the things that make my heart sing. And when we really have the courage to do that, and we know that our support isn't about money, our support is God is the source of all of it, then all of that starts to come into the picture. And you are supported. And we've been supported for 15 years of being on the air with our radio show and that kind of thing, and our speaking. And we also do healing work, a lot of personal and emotional counseling and healing work. We have clients. so that is our life.
Wow.
And it's great. I love it. Every day I get to get up and I get to immerse myself in this energy. And I can't think of a better way to live.
I love that. Well, and I had read that your show, Conscious Talk, was actually so popular that it shifted the format of the station that you were on.
Well, we were the first show on that station. It was a rhythm and blues station. It was not a talk station.
Okay.
And we were able to meet with the manager there and said, hey, we have this idea for a show. Here's what we'd like to do. We had this great connection with him. And he said, well, I don't think we're going to do anything like that right now, but if we ever do, I'll get in touch with you. And it took almost a year and a half before we heard from him.
Oh, wow.
And he said, have you got that show on the air yet? And we said, no, we've been shopping it, but no one's open yet. And he said, well, we are. So we started this genre of radio. And then it was KSRB, and it was a rhythm and blues. And when our show started, it was on a Sunday night for 3 hours.
Wow.
And then it gained popularity, and we went to 5 days a week. And then other shows started coming on, and they changed the format from rhythm and blues to CNN and talk radio. And then finally, after like 6 years or so, it turned into Seattle's alternative talk station, and it's 24/7 talk. And this is mostly the genre that is on this station.
Wow. Well, all of that makes it very evident of how meaningful your message has been to listeners.
Yes, and it was timing, too. The timing was perfect for that. People are ready. They're even more ready today, as has been the success with your show, demonstrates how people are craving this message. They're craving value in their lives. Yeah. They want to feel valuable, and they want their lives to have meaning.
Absolutely. Oh, what is the best way for listeners to get in touch with you after today's show?
They can email me at info@conscioustalk.net. They can get on my website at intentionalshift.com and reach me there, or they can get on our Facebook page at conscioustalk.net, and at the bottom there's a Facebook page. Just click on the F icon. There's also a Facebook page on my intentionalshift.com website. So those are the ways that they can reach me.
I love it. Well, you know what? I have a quote here, and I'm curious what your thoughts are on this. So Hippocrates is quoted as saying, "Healing is a matter of time, but it is sometimes also a matter of opportunity."
Yes, and the opportunity for healing isn't simply the physical body. That's what we think of when we think of healing.
Yeah.
It is healing inside out, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, and then you take that healing out into the world so that we can heal the dis-ease that's happening in the world today.
Yes.
We can heal the planet. We can heal. When we heal ourselves, then we're capable of taking that energy out and giving it to the world.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
Hey. What is what we want?
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
And I love that you definitely affirmed earlier that this is, there absolutely is a ton of hope out there in the world.
Yes, there is.
And I totally agree with that. There's that famous quote from Mr. Rogers, how he talks about, in times of, and I'm not quoting it perfectly, but something about in times of chaos, that's when you can look for the helpers because they're out there.
Absolutely. And there's a lot of it out there.
Yes.
There is so much, and whatever aligns with you, whatever you intuitively feel works for you,
yeah,
and you're getting a yes, then say yes to it, because it will not steer you in the wrong direction.
Oh, that's so good. If you're getting a yes, say yes to it.
Yes.
Yeah, I just want to add one thing to that. In terms of connecting with our hearts, I recently had this epiphany where it's like if I'm going to choose to be led by my heart, I might as well listen to it.
Amen, amen. From your lips to God's ears. That's beautiful.
Thank you. And it just was like, oh my goodness, how long did it take me to get to that realization?
It's a great one to get to, and it's a beautiful one to share.
Thank you. Well, we are wrapping up today's show, and I just want to say thank you so much for being on the show today, Brenda.
Thank you for having been an honor.
Oh, well, you just have such, wonderful information and just a beautiful transformational experience to share with people. And I agree that it's time. And so for all those that want to find out more about Brenda, you can go to her website at intentionalshift.com. And again, if you'd like to find out more about me, you can go to KimO'NeillCoaching.com. O'Neill, O-N-E-I-L-L. And we're wrapping up another wonderful show. I hope you just have a beautiful day. Remember to take deep breaths, feel into your body, say yes when you're getting a yes, and connect. And there's always, always hope. Have a wonderful day. Sometimes we wish we could practically do nothing and still feel better. Guess what? You kinda can. When you schedule a Reiki or guided meditation session, you can just be and receive and allow the energy to shift. There's relief. These energy sessions can be done alone or combined with a coaching session. Find out more at KimO'NeillCoaching.com and click on the Energy Work tab.
What does HealthyLife.net and Amazon.com have in common? Well, they're both available on the Internet. They both give great value. But most important, most of our positive program hosts and guests are accomplished authors, and their books are available from, you got it, Amazon.com. Now, it even gets better than that, because when you're listening on air to a HealthyLife.net host or guest, you can go directly to Amazon.com, and you can order your book while you're still listening to your favorite HealthyLife.net program. So when you hear an author you like, go to the homepage of HealthyLife.net and click on Amazon.com.
Yes! You did it! You got the job interview! Now all you need to do is prepare. You aren't sure how or what to say? Guess what? We can do this together then. One of my specialties is helping you to know how to present your best self for an employment interview. We'll practice, you'll feel confident. You got this. Visit KimO'NeillCoaching.com or call 562-273-2546.
Radio your way. HealthyLife.net.